Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 5
Yeah.
Yeah,
of Unmatched. You see, listen, like, we only 5 episodes deep, and I'm already getting confused. You know what I mean? Like, this is the start of something. Believe it. Um, well, welcome. This is going to be a interesting episode today. There's a lot going on in the world of sports. Champions League, Europa League, NBA, Francis Ngannou versus Anthony Joshua, Sean O'Malley versus,
Chito Vera.
thank you.
Yeah.
Um, this is good. This is gonna be a fun. This is gonna be a fun episode, no doubt. I'm Lucas Scott with the Selena shirt on. Shout out to Selena, rest in peace, of course. Barry with the TV in the background, and I can't see what poster that is in the back. It looks
Oh,
hockey.
what the,
This
Is that
one?
Bobby Orr?
oh,
No.
the air
This
one.
one?
Yeah, that's
Yeah, it's
Bobby
a
Orr.
Yeah.
signed Bobby Orr picture.
Okay. Is that when he like dove into the air?
I think I
Yeah, when
have
they
the
scored
same one.
Nice.
he scored the OT winner against the Blues in the Cup final,
Nice. Nice.
which
Against your
is
Blues.
which is odd of me having it, but it's Bobby Orr. So
Yeah, I get it. And then we got Pauly D. I can't really see Pauly D right now, but he's there, alive and well. He always got the headset on. He's, PC man. That's how PC dudes be doing it. So first order of business, Barry, we got to talk about your Celtics. That also costed me and Paul's parlay.
costed me money too. So
Yes.
Up
I took
19
up
against the
22.
Cavaliers.
Pretty sure
Sorry,
they're up
up
22.
22
Yeah.
against the Cavaliers without Donovan Mitchell.
And
And
Mobley got hurt in the second quarter and didn't come back.
I
Yeah.
just it's crazy. It's
Yeah.
crazy. And they lost. And shout outs to Dean Wade, who absolutely took
Turned
the
in
game over in the fourth quarter.
turned into Dwayne
Uh,
Wade.
yeah,
I
yeah,
hate
he
you.
did. And your Celtics lost.
Yeah.
Is this a concern for any of you guys
No.
with the Celtics come playoff time and maybe their inability to stop the bleeding at
Yeah.
times and hit important clutch shots when they need to be hit. And this is crazy to say this because
hmm
they're the best team in the league in terms of record,
Yeah.
but usually championship teams
hmm
they don't do that frequently. You know what I mean? And it feels like the Celtics have done that a little bit
We
too
don't have
much.
we don't get into a lot of close games this season. Like
No, it's
most of our
either
wins are
blowout.
yeah, it's most of our wins are just
Exactly.
blowouts, right? So it's never had to come to clutch situation. I think Tatum in his career or just like his era, I think he's like 1 for 11 in like last 10-second shots to win the game, which isn't great. But if you look at this
At
the
all.
no, but it's also like they're not drawn up plays. I don't understand what we do when we get the ball in the last 20 seconds of a game. It's literally, okay, Tatum gets the ball and he'll just take out the whole clock and just put up a shot at the dying seconds. I don't know if it's like a Tatum thing or it's a Missoula thing saying, I'm just going to trust in my guy in the last 20 seconds, which I'd rather prefer is let me drop a singular play for the last 20 seconds for get
I
a
think
good
it.
shot put up. Like I don't
I think it's
know
a
what.
Missoula thing
Yeah, like it's
Yeah.
because Jason Tatum isn't someone. He's not like an uncoachable dude.
no.
Or maybe the uncoachable is not the right word, but he's not a guy that's like, "Yo, coach, f what you're saying. I'm doing
hmm
I'm doing this." He doesn't
Yeah,
strike me as that type of guy. He's very much someone that wants to be educated and learn on a consistent basis, right?
yeah,
And maybe Joe Mazzulla is not doing that. I don't know. Um, I think it's a little bit of a concern because and simply because that this isn't the first time that something of this ilk has happened,
yeah,
right? You look at the problem with the Celtics is not that teams are not flat out better than them. It's that the Celtics shoot themselves in the foot.
yeah.
And that's been the issue for the
Yeah.
last three
Well,
seasons.
that's what we did
You
against Golden
go
State in the finals. We
ex-
shot ourselves in the foot in
exactly.
that series,
It's the turnovers. It's the
hmm
lack of shot making ability in
and
those
that's what
types of
happened in the fourth
situations.
quarter in the Cleveland game. We just kept turning the ball over. Just they got sloppy
Exactly.
with the ball.
And that's why a lot of people felt like, at least after the Celtics, after you guys lost to the Warriors, and that they needed a true point guard. You know what I mean? Like a true PG that can calm things. Like this would have been a great era to have Rajon Rondo. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because Rondo would have been, yo, dudes, calm the F down, relax, take a deep breath.
Yeah, floor
Yeah.
general.
We got this. And floor general, put them in prime position. This is why I thought you guys should have went to go get a Chris Paul, right?
Yeah.
Because a guy like a Chris
Yeah.
Paul would yes, he's never won a title,
No.
but he can calm things down, right? And you saw Chris Paul last season against the Nuggets in game 2 after the Suns had won the first game against the Nuggets. They had an opportunity to go up 2-0. And Chris Paul gets injured
Yeah.
in the fourth or late third quarter of that game 2 against the Nuggets. And the Suns could not buy a bucket. They looked absolutely discombobulated. And I thought it was a real turning point in the series. Chris Paul came back a little bit later, but it wasn't the same.
It's not. It's like 60% of Chris Paul came back.
Exactly. So I feel like that's a concern for the Celtics, is that you look at the loss against Golden State in the finals, they shoot themselves in the foot. You look against last season against Miami, you're down. You shouldn't even have been down 0-3.
No, we were better. We were flat out better than them. We just
100%
came out flat, and it was just
100%. And I thought, honestly, like if you had Ime Udoka at the time, that you wouldn't have been down 3-0 at all. I think you probably maybe you could have been up 2-1, 3-0, who knows? But that's the only reason why I feel like it's a concern for the Celtics is because this isn't new, right? They've kind of choked the last 2 postseasons, which is why I'm a little bit concerned.
Yeah.
But it's like when you're in the regular season, it's nice to see a blowout, but it's also concerning when it's only blowouts because you're never in that position, and every team is gonna be in that position. So I find it's a coaching concern because there very few times they're in that position, and the few times they are, they're not prepared for it. And that's like, you know what I mean, like the players step up, but there's so like Barry said, like if you're just gonna go out there and free ball it, like it's gonna work 1 out of 11 times.
I don't like when Boston does like the whole ISO ball thing. Is like like I'd say like 2 years ago or 3 years ago, it was a lot of Tatum, my turn, get the ball up, go for a shot. Then it would be like Brown, okay, it's my turn. And then you would get sometimes Marcus Smart would do the same thing. Not very efficient when he used to do it, but he used to do it all the time. He used to, he'd be like, he'd call his shot and he'd waste 20 seconds of the clock and he'd break it. But like, I don't know.
But
I miss the days of when Brad Stevens was the coach. And like in those dying seconds, we always had that one clutch play that he would drop it. Either if it was off the inbounds play where he would have a couple screens go by and then leave one man open on the shot on like the other side. Like we don't have that anymore. Like we used to do when we have Brad Stevens there. Brad Stevens moved into the management and built. Sorry?
It says it reminds me. It's like it reminded me of when like Sad Friend said like the players only knew overtime rules 50 minutes prior. It's like the same feel. So it's concerning in terms of playoffs.
Yeah, but I think right now we're just far and away the best team in the East. Whereas at least like I think we have probably in the NBA we probably have the best starting 5, like 1 to 5, just to go out there every night. Well, you got 2 great defenders at your guards in White and Drew. Derek White's like we had like 5 blocks against Cleveland as a guard, which is crazy to me that he just keeps raking in blocks.
Couldn't get a little bit more so I could win my parlay.
Then you got Brown at the 3, Tatum at the 4, and then you got Porzingis at the 5. Like it's.
And who do you have at the 2 again?
White.
It would be White. No, it'd be White.
I think it's up there. I would say the Clippers have a
better starting 5.
They have a debate. Because I think their 2 stars are better than your 2 stars.
Even at their age?
Huh? What? Yes.
I don't know. Like
let me ask you. You're a Celtics fan, but try to be objective for a second. You would rather have Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown in a playoff series than Paul George and Kawhi right now.
25, 26 instead of 33,
No,
34.
but
I
hold on.
don't think their body will last the whole playoff run.
But you're you're bringing up age like it's a 5-year, like it's a 5-year plan. I'm not talking about a 5-year plan.
No, but I'm saying one playoff run. I don't trust their bodies to stay intact for a playoff run.
It's crazy. I mean, you're not crazy for doubting.
Like, how many
their
times
health.
have we seen PG and Kawhi on the court in the same times in the playoff? Like, there always someone gets hurt. Like, it's just.
But when they're on, like, listen.
But that's
But
it's the
when
but.
they're
Yes,
on.
yeah, it's the
Okay, but the
scares
thing
me.
is that I personally would rather have a what if than dudes that just choke. Because
mean,
at
to
least
say
I
that-
have a what if. At least I
Yeah.
have a what if.
I mean, I
you
feel
don't
like-
have a what if.
I
You
feel
was
like
just you just
I feel
didn't
like
get it done.
choking is a little bit extreme because we've been to the Eastern Conference Finals 3 out of the last 4 years. We went to a final. It's not like we choke in the first. We're
You
not
have
like
no wins.
But we're not like the 76ers that choke in the first 2 rounds every year. We're not like that type of, like, we make it to the
But
Eastern
you
Conference Finals.
make it.
We
when
make
you
it
choke
to
on
the
a
finals.
bigger
But
stage.
it's not choke.
You know?
But it's not like it's not like we talk about Embiid and him not showing up in the playoffs because Embiid gets bounced out in the second round. He's been into one.
But hold on a second. Embiid hasn't had as good a rosters as you guys have had. You guys have had better rosters than the Philadelphia 76ers.
Yeah, but I don't know. I feel
when
like
he had Ben Simmons, everyone was deflecting, and I didn't think it was right because I thought Ben Simmons played pretty well. Everyone's deflecting blame on Ben Simmons, right? Or
I mean,
James
I would say, I would say
against
more
Miami,
last year where they had James Harden and Tyrese Maxey took it in a bigger role last season, where it looked was probably his best team to compete with because he had a guy in James Harden who was still putting up roughly 25 points a game with the 10 assists that he was getting.
And what they lost to who again? They lost to
us. They lost to the Celtics.
Yeah.
Right? And you guys were the number 1 seed or the number 2 seed, right?
Number 2 seed. Yeah.
Like, it's not crazy.
I mean, they don't ever beat us, so that's not.
But
like
yes, you've had their number, right? Like, the biggest indictment on them is losing to the Hawks. That's their biggest. And actually, no, losing. They had no business losing to you guys in 2019. 2018.
Is that the year when everyone was a baby? Like, everyone was just kids? When
and
everyone
Kyrie
was out?
got injured. Kyrie's first year at Celtics. They had no business losing to you guys.
We also brought the Cavs to 7 games in the conference finals that season, right?
Yes.
With Tatum being 19.
You had no superstar.
No,
you had no superstar.
Tatum was a rookie.
Exactly.
Was a rookie
and
that
he
season.
played fantastic. Terry Rozier came up big. Like,
the
thing is that the Clippers have a what if. That's the one thing that they do have.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas you look at what they beat the Suns without Paul George last season in the first game. Like, I'm a person, and many people also have this mindset that if Kawhi doesn't get injured against the Suns, even with Paul George down, they're beating Phoenix. Like, what he did in that first game, chef's kiss. Like, it was incredible. And then after they ended up losing, and they tried hard, definitely. The season before that, he didn't even play. They missed the play. And then the season before that, they go to the conference finals against Phoenix. Kawhi Leonard tears his meniscus or ACL.
ACL, they eventually
against Utah. And even without Kawhi, they still beat the number 1 seeded Utah in the semis and go to the conference finals and take the Phoenix Suns to 6. And the Phoenix Suns were up 2-0 on the Milwaukee Bucks that season. So, like, my point is that the Clippers have at least the element of a what if. Whereas the Celtics, you don't have a what if. It's disappointment. Like, it's disappointment because everyone's available and healthy and you're still not getting it done. Whereas the Clippers is like, no one's healthy. That's why they're not.
But this is Boston's year. There is no excuses if they don't win this year. Like, there's a problem.
I didn't think there was an excuse last year.
The one excuse was Ime Udoka getting kicked off the team a week before the season started, right? Like, that's a big shift. And like, because like Mazzulla came in and like not everyone was behind him. The coaching staff wasn't built for him. The coaching staff was built for Udoka. And like, they're saying like, one of my peers is getting elevated in front of me for a job that we're all equally qualified for. Like, why is he getting the job, not me, right? So it's like there was a bunch of like shit going on there that and you saw it in the play. Like Boston's biggest problem in the playoff run last year was not knowing when to call timeouts when other teams were going on runs. It was a constant thing where like the team would go on a 15-2 run, and Boston would be like, let's play this out. Let's try to run the momentum. I think last season, a lot came down to coaching.
But at this point, at this stage, right, like you guys have been to a finals, and I know these guys are 25, but like they have experience, right? They're in a position, in my opinion, at least Jason Tatum, to be like, yo, coach, like, what are we doing? Or Al Horford.
Yeah.
Al Horford's been in the league since like 07. Yeah. Like, you, coach, what are we doing? Right? So it's not like you guys are a baby. It's not like an OKC where you guys are like, no one has playoff experience. You're all just along for the ride. Like, you guys literally came off of a finals appearance. Where for me, that's why it's not an excuse, because it's like you guys have been there and not done it because you didn't win, but you've been there. Right? Like, and I know it's LeBron. Like, I get it. But David Black got fired mid-season. And Ty came in and they beat the Golden State Warriors down 3-1.
Yeah. But we all agree Ty Lue was a great coach at this point. Like,
I think he's the best coach. But at the time he wasn't.
We didn't know. But I'm saying, looking back now, there's a reason why that worked out, because Ty Lue is a great coach and he's a great players coach. Players love to play for him.
But you're also forgetting Drew Holiday has a ring and like should also be a voice against the coach.
He wasn't there last year though.
No, but I think
I'm saying like this is their season, and you already have you have playoff experience and you have players with rings. Like you know what I mean? There's some point, like it goes two ways. The pushback either works or it causes bigger contention, like in the locker room, right? But I think that's a better what if than going at it is right now.
I think a lot of maturity is gonna happen. It happened or is gonna happen this season with Marcus Smart gone, because I felt like the team just, even though he's not the best player, he was kind of like the voice of the team, right? He was the longest tenured guy.
And he also took very bad shots.
He does tend to take a lot of bad, but I'm saying like he was the guy when shit was going down, when the team wasn't playing well, he'd like be that spark. He'd be the guy to call a team meeting. He'd be the guy to like say, coach, what are we doing?
They don't really have that.
No, but I feel like now that he's traded, I feel like the two top guys have stepped into a role of the bigger leadership. Like they weren't as outspoken as they were this year as they were last season. Because I feel like Marcus Smart just took a lot of that pressure off of them, because they were the kids of the team and Smart was the leader. He was the longest tenured. He was there for 10 years or whatever. So it kind of like took all the pressure off when shit was going bad. But this year with Smart gone, now it's their team. Like no one had ever thought, like, I mean, the last regime, everyone thought it was Brad Stevens' team. The team went as Brad Stevens went.
Yeah.
Kind of last year was like Marcus Smart was that engine of the team. Now this year it's like it's Tatum and Brown.
Yeah, well, you couldn't. He's the voice and he's the Draymond of that team, but he's not.
Exactly. That's what he
was.
It's
not his team. Like, right? You're not gonna go Golden State and say it's Draymond's team. No, it's Curry's team.
No. Yeah.
But so last year, I wouldn't say it was his team. I'm just saying he was the voice of the team. I don't know. It's a different type of voice, though.
Yeah.
Like to have them as leaders,
and Smart's more like a rah guy type thing, like to spark.
I feel like you need one, maybe not as like the head of your team or like the biggest voice of your team, but I feel like you still need that engine. I feel they don't really have, but that's a different discussion.
Let's go to the Phoenix Suns. They beat the Denver Nuggets. I want to say it was yesterday night or 2 nights ago.
It was the same night as the collapse.
I think it was 2 nights
ago.
Nights ago.
No,
it was 2 nights
OT.
ago. Yeah.
It was 117, 112, something like that.
Yeah, in overtime.
Another team that was up big.
They're in a play-in position. They have Devin Booker's out right now, but you still have Bradley Beal. You still have Kevin Durant. You still have Yusuf Nurkic. Are they contenders for you guys? Because for me, it's just been a little bit disappointing.
You kind of know what they're missing? Chris Paul.
I think they're missing depth.
But they're missing a true point. Like,
but Devin, a true point, yes. But Devin Booker can.
Yeah, but that's not him at his best, right? him and
Well,
his
listen, if you go back to that 2021 playoffs against the Clippers in the conference finals, Chris Paul missed, I believe, the first two games missed the first two games of that series, and Devin Booker like triple double with assists, right? Like
yeah,
he was facilitating. He has the ability to do so.
yeah,
It's just, I think maybe with a guy like Bradley Beal, maybe it's a bit off because Bradley Beal is not. I don't think he has the ability to facilitate like a Devin Booker, but he's also not a guy that's like, at least in this equation, right? With John Wall, him and John Wall back in the day, that's different. But in this equation, like it's if Devin Booker's facilitating, it's going to KD first and then Bradley Beal.
Yeah.
And like I feel like at this stage in Bradley Beal's career, it's like a bit like awkward. It just seems off. You know, something is off about the makeup of the team. Hence why they're in a play-in position and not one of like the top 4 teams in the Western Conference.
And they're also the worst fourth quarter team in the league, which is the biggest of the problems.
Which is shocking.
Yeah.
Yes,
but that's
you have a guy like Kevin Durant.
It would help if you had a point guard in those situations to be able to calm down when things are going bad, right? The same thing like we say with the Celtics situation, where it's like if they had like a true point and be able to like.
But Book can facilitate better than Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I just find like he shouldn't have to be in that extended role. Like I just think the Beal pickup was a name pickup more than anything. Like it just seemed weird to me.
When you're a star or a superstar, if someone believes that Devin, I don't know if I think Devin Booker's a superstar, but that's not because he's not great. It's because I feel like we throw that term around too loosely.
Yeah.
But if he's like your guy, sometimes you have to fill in a role that, you know what I mean? Like Kobe was a facility to
you have to fill the role. I'm saying it's not your
with Shaq, right? Like so those things you're gonna be in those. Jordan averaged 11 assists in his first NBA Finals. You know what I mean? Like no one talks about it, but he did do that. Like you need to be able to adapt and do whatever it takes for your team to win.
Yeah, I mean you are comparing him to Jordan. I don't know.
No, but if it's within your yes, okay, but how many people don't know that Jordan averaged 11 assists in the playoffs?
Yeah, no, fair.
There's a lot of people that would be like, oh, Jordan, he's like Kobe, blah blah, this and that. Like he's just a scorer. But when you break it down to someone, no, Jordan averaged 11 assists in the NBA Finals, and they'd be like, oh, I didn't know that. You know what I mean? Like, so it's sometimes you need to be able to adapt to do whatever it takes for your team to win the game. So that's why, like, I understand that it's not the ideal position to be in, but you look across all sports. There's times where you're not going to be in the ideal position, but you still got to get it done.
For sure.
Yeah, but this is what, their first season?
Yeah.
First season together. Not his first season with KD, but his first season.
No, not his first. But you see what I'm saying? Like, it's not that he can't step in that role, but like, let's be honest. It'll probably take more than a season for it to mesh, right? So they're kind of hoping it meshes. And this is why they're in the play-in, and their hopes are it's mesh. They find the right balance by the time of the play-in tournament.
Time's not on their side though. That's the problem, right? Yeah. Like KD's getting older, Bradley Beal's getting older. There's a lot.
No, I'm saying in terms of this season.
Yes, yeah, I think they might need to make some moves at trade deadline to help with depth.
Yes, definitely new depth.
But we'll see what happens. I mean, I don't think they're legitimate contenders though. No. Not until the trade deadline.
I also don't think they're good enough defensively to be contenders.
Yeah, that's fair. Champions League. So Man City, Copenhagen. Let's just breeze through this, man. Yeah. Y'all, Man City, when's the last time you had a difficult round of 16? Like what? Like 5 years ago?
I don't even remember.
It like, tries things in the Champions League. It's hilarious. Watching the game, looking at the roster they put out, you had Julian Alvarez playing left mid. This guy's a striker. This guy's a striker center forward who sometimes plays as a number 10 under them.
Yeah.
Let's start him off on the left.
Fitting a role.
Yeah, but that's just like the style of soccer they play. It's just like
positionless.
Just play. Yeah, it's just position. Like you had Matías Núñez playing right mid.
I
Like,
don't know, man. He like
it's
sometimes shows like signs of like, oh, this guy's like,
for 70 million.
but
That they bought
no,
him to
he's
sit on the
definitely
bench.
not worth that price tag. And I, to be honest, I don't know why we got him. I do see signs of like, wow, that's like some
I
great
think
plays, but other times I'm just like,
I kind of think
okay,
they're using him as like a in the wing Bernardo Silva replacement. Like eventually, like for when Bernardo finally moves on, and like you don't have to
yeah,
wait 2 years when you buy someone. You buy someone now. Let them adjust to the system for 2 years, and then they'll get their shot into the system.
yeah. Every
But
City
like
player
right
has
now,
always
he's
took a
kind of just
season.
kind of like there, like doesn't do
It'll
much.
Bernardo
take him.
Silva or
It'll take him a
David
season.
Silva?
Bernardo
David
Silva.
Silva, David Silva.
Wait,
Just
what?
asking.
Oh, you're saying in
So
terms of
yeah, like if you
Who would
you
no,
want,
David Silva. Yeah, I thought you
yeah,
you meant like if you made a mistake. No, but David
No, no,
Silva.
no.
yeah.
Just asking.
It's gonna take him a year. Like every City
Mhm.
player that come besides fucking Haaland who scored 50 goals, but then again he had like everyone passing to him. It takes about
Yeah.
a season to 2 years to
But going back to
adjust.
like Pep just playing thing, Oscar Bob started off as a center mid
Dude,
yesterday.
absolute
Like
stud.
you just they don't care like where they play guys. You started Oscar Bob and you started Rico Lewis at CDM. Like it's
But
just
they
like
can
in
they
Champions
can
they can just do that. They have
they
two
can
rosters ready
also
to go.
afford for guys like you said, not like you said, but in the same
Their
essence, like they can afford guys not to play well because
their entire
Guvardio
bench is better than most starting lineups in the world. It was hilarious.
exactly like
Hey,
Guvardio has not been that impressive
no,
since
he
he's been to that
hasn't.
city, right? Like, and I understand it's an adjustment period, but it goes to my point of they can afford to not have their guys playing up to snuff because
Yeah.
there's so much talent on the squad. Listen, y'all be Copenhagen. We're not gonna talk about it. Like
Yeah.
it was easy. Let's just move past. Uh Lazio Bayern. Oh my gosh. Wow. So
I'm not like
I'm not surprised,
Nope.
but like Jesus, like Lazio, can we and Chino Immobile, like I love dude, like he's an all-time great striker for Lazio.
For Lazio,
Uh
yeah. That's
for
where you can end
Lazio.
the
in
Yes.
Italy.
But like I've been and
that
Barry,
that
you know
open
I've
net
been
he
saying this.
missed.
You know I've been saying this for years. Outside of Serie A, this dude do not show
Silent.
up. Don't show up for national team. He don't show up in European competition. Like if he buries that header, we might be having a different conversation.
Yeah.
But he's not ready. He's not ready. He's not ready.
Well, he
He's
never will be
never
ready.
there when you need. I don't get it. I do not get it. And it's frustrating because I want the Serie A to do good because there's a lot of people that hate on the Serie A. I don't know why, but there's a lot of doubt. There's a lot
If
of
there was
hate
one
on the
City A team to go out, I'm okay with it.
yeah, that's fine. But
They just play
out of the
defense for freaking 100,000
Yeah,
minutes of
they
the
just
game.
tried to
Like
defend for the
they
longest
just
yeah,
tried
time
to
in that
defend, and
game.
I'm like, look, if it was a 2-0 lead going in, I get it, but it's 1-0. I'm sorry, it is nearly impossible to guard
against
a
that
one.
team.
Yes,
Yeah,
A against Bayern, B guard a 1-0 over 90 plus minutes,
and
and
the other team
C,
have
it's not
Harry
like you're
Kane.
the most dominant defensive team in Italy.
No, that's not even their style in Italy. They're an offensive team.
They're
Like that's Maurizio Sarri's like system. It's like
yeah.
offense. It's not traditional to what everyone else does in Italy.
Look, regardless of their game plan, I think Bayern still came on top and went through as it happened. I'm just saying that was just poor planning.
Yeah, they're definitely out of the remaining Italian teams in Europe. And I'm sorry, Fiorentina. I have not paid attention to the Conference League,
They won
but
4-3 today.
okay, there you go.
Wow.
That's
At
all I
least they
said.
So
won.
you get the
Yeah.
same ribbon.
At least they won. But Atalanta, and Sporting CP or whatever Sporting Lisbon drew 0-0. But
No,
Atalanta
1-1.
looked better. I'm sorry, drew
Yeah.
1-1. Yes, Atalanta looked good. Like Lookman had a great opportunity, hits the bar. They hit the bar
Mhm.
3 times. Like they had a great opportunity to win the game, and it's coming back home for the second leg. Like they're looking good.
Yeah.
Roma
Crushed. But what did I
I'm
say?
shocked.
What
I
did I
wasn't
say?
like I'm not
No, but
shocked
I
that
said
they
no
won.
Matoma.
I'm
It's
shocked that
not a
was
problem.
4-0.
But I said it. No
yes, no
Matoma, no
Matoma's
problem.
obviously, but 4-0, like that's crazy.
Yeah, like
There's a lot of. I know they got a lot of injuries. I mean, like Ferguson didn't even start today. They started
yeah.
Danny Welbeck, which Danny Welbeck hasn't been
We'll leave it
good
at that.
since he was 21 at Man
Mm,
United.
sure.
But like, it just didn't look like they had some moments of like pressing, but like
They're
it wasn't
just yeah,
it wasn't ever close the game. We took over right away, and
they're
which
missing
was
way too
shocking.
many
Like I said, I didn't think
injuries.
you guys would win
is
it.
it shocking the way we've been playing the last month and a half?
It's shocking that it's 4-0.
4-0, yeah.
We've been one of the highest scoring teams in Italy since De Rossi came what he was what I think we had 20 goals in 7
Yeah, but you
games.
also
Yes.
haven't been playing like great teams, right? Like
We scored 2 against Inter, and we're one of the only teams
Yeah.
to do that this season, right? And they're the best defensive team in the
Look,
world.
but that's the thing. It's
wait till Milan gets a hold of them.
okay. That's why. What defense? They're all freaking injured. But look, yes, you have been highest scoring, but recently, like
Yes, but I'm saying as of
you know what
recent
I mean?
form, we've been playing well.
Like
In
unless
form,
it's
yeah.
happening on a consistent basis, we're always going to be shocked if they have more than 2 goals. Let's be honest. But it's also like a half-legged Brighton team right now, so it should
Yeah.
be easy for Roma.
Yeah, exactly.
True. And then obviously Milan beat Slavia Prague
Horrible game.
4-2.
Y'all lucky you could score because you ain't got no defense.
You're lucky Leao can create things because 2 of the goals were directly off what he did.
I honestly, I think Leao's a top 5 most valuable player in the world. Like value to the team.
Well, yeah, you
Because-
guys don't create offense without
importance
him.
to the team, yes, because he
Yeah,
is the
yeah.
team.
when he's not there, it's almost like Raji when Raji's not on Man City, but maybe even worse. Like
It's
a
definitely
dis-
worse. I'm sorry,
it's
he's
a-
like 85% of your team. The other 15% is Tomori.
And he's not even playing.
Yeah.
it's a disaster. It's a disaster
Yeah.
when he doesn't
Yeah.
play.
They look so disorganized when it's not going through him. Like the first goal was off a rebound off his shot that he created on his own,
yeah.
and the one that put them up was it 4-2?
4-2.
He just cut it on the
ended
left
up
side.
putting it in the
And
back.
yeah, if he needed to touch that, he needed to touch that. But whatever, like that was all Leao again, cutting it
But
on the
that-
left, cutting through. Like
I don't mean to sidetrack too much, but that's why we lost.
need a new coach.
I thought we need a new coach, number one, but it's also why I felt like, we kind of were set up to fail against Inter last Champions League semifinals because he missed the first leg and
Yeah.
it was a home game. Like it was just a disaster. Like with him not in the lineup, like, and you saw in the second game we still lost, but it was a lot closer. But we beat Slavia Prague 4-2. Defense definitely needs to do better. Mike Mignon, I love Mike Mignon.
He's been off this season.
He's been off.
But he's not been great, and hopefully they
But
can.
He's been enough.
Yes, but hopefully he can, pick it up in the second leg and for the rest of the season because I want to see Roma versus Milan because there's a good chance that we will go to that game. On to the next game. PSG versus Real Sociedad. I mean, we don't really talk about this. This is one of the Man City.
Yeah, I hardly paid attention.
Honestly, the only thing is that I'm pained that Milan is not here instead.
Well, I mean, look, I wouldn't. I mean, they're out. But like Sociedad is not like a super weak opponent. Yes, it's one of the weaker.
They're not super weak, but
I don't care for PSG unless they're playing another team that
Damn.
I'm interested in.
Mhm.
Like, you know what I mean? It's basically the Mbappe show, and then Mbappe's leaving to Madrid next year, and PSG's kind of done.
Yeah, and they don't have the strength of a team to like compete this season, anyways.
Oh no,
they're gonna go back. They're gonna go back to being the PSG with Cavani and Ibra as their starting strikers. Like they were good teams, but
yeah,
you
Worse
knew that
than
they weren't gonna win anything, right?
No.
I will mention though that I do think it's interesting that this is the furthest PSG has been, since Messi joined the team.
Yeah,
that's all I'm saying. That's all.
The competition they had to play in the first round is a little different.
I mean, hey, that ain't got nothing to do. Well, I mean, listen, you have Messi, Neymar, and Mbappe. Like, there really shouldn't be any excuses.
Yeah, but the big thing with that was that they spent all the money in the wrong places, right?
Well, all I'm saying is that when Ronaldo was at Real Madrid, they never got bounced out in the round of 16. That's all I'm gonna say.
Name me a midfielder that was on that team.
They also went to United and didn't even make Champions League.
Who?
Wait, did they make Champions League when Ronaldo went back to United?
Well, he played in the Champions League. and they lost to Atletico, if I recall correctly. Um, that was the year that they were drawn. The draw was them and PSG, him and Messi, but that they had messed up the draw, so they had to redo it, and it was them versus Atletico.
I wanted it, bro. Like, come on, why would you mess like?
Just let it be.
But in the Prem season, no, I don't believe that they made Champions League.
Did they finish fifth or whatever?
Yeah.
Yes. But you were saying about midfield. What? Sorry, what'd you say about the midfield?
Yeah, like that midfield that PSG had wasn't.
You got Verratti.
I'm saying besides
Stop
like
it.
besides Verratti, there was.
What do you mean?
that.
Stop it.
What
do you mean?
He was like 45, and every time he tried to dribble,
Verratti?
He's not even. I think he might be 30 now.
Well, he played like he was 45. I'm sorry. Every time he got the ball in the box, he
Oh
would
my
lose
God.
it. Towards the end of the PSG career, he was horrible.
No, I wouldn't say horrible. He didn't benefit of having another midfielder that was capable of playing besides him. Like there was nothing else around him. It was either
still
he
got Marquinhos.
Yeah.
Who's solid.
Very good, yeah.
You had Kimpembe.
No, they still have Kimpembe.
Well, but like he's not
nothing.
He's average.
Yeah.
Yes, like
he was always average.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, I thought he was pretty solid.
A little bit above average.
Yeah, back in his time when he was better. Listen, the front three was so good it didn't matter, right?
Yeah,
look at.
There was also a little bit of like tension between 2 and 3. Like there was a clear like alliance of 2 of the stars compared to the third one. Mbappe clearly was the odd man out in that trio on his own team, and you saw Mbappe want the stardom of that team, but with 2 guys that arguably have bigger names than him. So you saw like the little competitiveness that Mbappe didn't want to give up of like, this is my team, we go through me. And you saw it on situations where like they'd have a 2-on-1, a 2-on-0, and Mbappe would rip a shot from a terrible angle just because like you saw like there was miscommunication between like it didn't work out. It didn't mesh the way Messi, Suarez, and Neymar did. Like they were able to like flow through each other. You can see like the 2 of them want the flow, and then the third guy would be a stopgap between them. I don't know.
Yes. Listen, all I have to say is that PSG beat Real Sociedad. Who cares?
Yeah.
They did it. Yeah, they're on to the next round. Like for teams like PSG or teams like Man City, unless you're playing someone interesting, it's like okay, on to the next.
That goes for any big team. You're telling me you would watch Real Madrid Copenhagen? Like you should expect.
I watched Real Madrid Leipzig, which is the last game that we're talking about.
Leipzig's a better team than.
First of all, Leipzig. We'll get into that, but you know what I mean. They're clearly a better team because it was 1-0 and 1-1. So
yeah.
But I think that's also more than just Real Madrid for some reason.
I mean, if we want to just move on to that game, they kind of deserve.
I wouldn't be interested in a Man City Leipzig game because.
Well, it's because we play them every freaking year in our group.
Well, you demolish them. That's that's my point. Like you guys demolish them. Like your style, Real Madrid's they're not the type of team that's like we're gonna slam 5 goals past you. That's not how. They don't have a striker.
Yeah, that's like
fair. But you have
and Jude didn't even play in the first leg, right?
Yeah, like no, that is a big reason. Well, he played in the second.
I mean, he played in the second leg.
Exactly. But he got an assist. He assisted Vinny's goal. Vinny Jr. So like, they don't. To me, their style of play is not to rip 5 goals past you. That's Man City. Man City sniping at least 2-3 goals past you, which is why it's not interesting because like that's just what they're gonna do. Same thing for PSG. Like Mbappe is inevitable. Like for the most part, he's gonna put one at least behind the back.
But you're gonna tell me you're gonna watch like let's say Inter Copenhagen. I feel like Inter still slams 3-4 goals.
Yeah, Inter's probably Inter's probably the second best team in the world right now.
But that's what I'm saying. It's just it's the opponent. It's not like right. There's very few of those opponents that are like you don't really care.
But
whoever the
all I'm
top
gonna
team
say
is not
is
gonna watch.
Leipzig deserve to win.
Yeah,
knock out Madrid. If Openda hit the net, on any of his chances. He
Openda
missed
was
so many shots.
Yeah, he missed a
Bro,
lot.
he had 4 or 5 shots directly in front of goal that he either put wide or to the goal. Like that was their game to win. If there was ever going to be an upset of Leipzig to beat Madrid, that was the game because Madrid played like shit in the second half, and then Leipzig took over, just couldn't get the ball in the net.
But also, like, I love Don Carlo, who doesn't. But you're starting 5 midfielders. Like, I didn't really get that formation.
I liked it better when they took out Camavinga and they brought on Rodrigo, and they played kind of like the 2 wingers were playing as like strikers, and then you had Bellingham a little bit behind, and he plays more of like a center forward, which allows him to create for the wingers. Whereas because he started the game as a striker next to Vinny, and that's just odd because one's a winger, one's not a striker. So like the formation, I mean, right now with the players they got, I think their best way of moving forward is having Vinny and Rodrigo on the left and right, and having Jude play a little bit behind as like the center forward to be able to create for the.
But there's a formation, 4-2-3-1. Thank you. 4-2-3-1. Okay, hold on a second.
Yeah, that's what City plays sometimes.
Yeah, that's what City played their last game.
Yeah, for me, one of the formations, like I'm curious to know why Ancelotti did it. Like a 4-2-3, a 4-2. Whoa.
4-2-3-1. Yeah.
Thank you. A 4-2-3-1. You have Camavinga and Tchouaméni, who are natural defensive midfielders to begin with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Then you have Rodrigo, Bellingham. I would put Rodrigo as striker, to be honest with you.
Okay.
I'd put Vinny at left. I put Valverde at right.
On the right.
And I'd put
Jude in the middle.
And then Rodrigo as my striker. To me, that would be the optimal optimal formation for them, because I love Toni Kroos and I love Luka Modric, but I feel like those guys are just better coming off the bench at this stage in their careers.
The only problem with that formation with them is usually the striker in that formation is a target man, because it funnels towards him and like you can create balls for him. And Rodrigo isn't that target. Like Rodrigo's a 5'8" Brazilian, right? Like he plays the normal Brazilian winger type of play.
That's a formation for Ruud van Nistelrooy or Haaland.
Something like you have that's what
Man City does.
You just need that big center forward up there, because you can create everything around it and then funnel the ball into the striker for all the shots. And
I'm just talking in terms of having your best 11 on.
Have their best players on the field.
Fair.
And
probably.
I feel like that would probably be their best formation.
But I feel like you kind of miss out on that deep holding midfield.
But they don't have one of those.
Well,
that's Luka Modric and Toni Kroos's role.
You see what I'm saying? That Modric, the Pirlo, that Kroos, like they're missing that aspect in terms of. I'm not saying Tchouaméni and Camavinga can't get the ball out, but I'm saying just
that's not their style. Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Skipping a whole step, you're missing that deep midfield, which is what they're going with right now. But look, I said this 2 weeks ago. I don't remember which episode. They're missing a striker and they're playing surviving soccer. And it shows. And if it's continuing like this, they're getting bounced the next round.
But I'm pretty sure Ancelotti said by the next leg,
Militao and Courtois.
Yeah, Militao and Courtois are going to be back, which is going to.
But I don't know if Courtois is the biggest deal, because Lunen's been playing so well.
Yeah.
There's always there's always that little extra edge you get having that guy, and like you saw with the Champions League final, the year they won.
Yeah.
That he won them that game. Right, like Courtois made saves like crazy that were spectacular that saved them in that game, and that's the type of goalie he is.
But the problem is that he's also coming off of an ACL injury.
Yeah,
right. Like you're coming off of an ACL injury as an athletic keeper.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I wouldn't feel comfortable, and I know he's Courtois, he's a top 3 keeper in the world, but I wouldn't feel comfortable slapping him in to the Champions League quarterfinals.
There's so much room in between for him to come back.
Yeah, there's going to be the 2-week break. There's the international break.
Right,
like,
you play in. Yeah.
So the coaching staff will know in training.
Is
how
that
he
enough?
Is right now.
Is that enough? I don't know.
I think they need him. I'm not saying
Yeah.
like
right?
Lunen's playing great, but the issue is the soccer they're playing right now. They need Courtois. I think he's a
But
bigger asset than we realized.
Well,
the
Lunin
problem,
saved him in the first leg, right? Like Lunin was
yeah,
outstanding in that first
he
leg
had 9
against
saves.
Leipzig. Yeah, like he was fantastic there. Didn't really do much in the second game. It's not like a game that needed him, but like if we're gonna
But the thing is
compare,
that
we're always gonna say you're gonna want Courtois because he's not only that, he's a
who
leader to have back there as well.
it depends who they're playing, because if like whatever, let's say they play, I don't know, Napoli, if they get by,
I mean,
who
Napoli's
else?
been playing better as of late,
Yeah,
right?
Napoli's
So
been playing better, but
and
like who?
Barca's
Okay,
been
if they
playing
play a
worse. Yeah,
Porto, let's say if they play a Porto, let's say Porto advances and they beat Arsenal. I'm not saying
Uh-huh.
this is gonna happen, but
Yeah,
let's
yeah,
say,
yeah.
then I would feel comfortable starting him, because Porto is not like, they're good, but they're not dangerous, right? Like
yeah.
the
Mhm.
Real Madrid would have the better 11 on the field.
Yeah.
But that's the same with Leipzig
Courtois,
right now.
it, from the break from now till the quarterfinals, what real quality is he going to play against that's really going to test him, right? Like that's my concern, is that if you have to come back and play a Bayern or play a PSG or play a Man City, I don't feel comfortable. I'm sorry, because you're coming back, you're getting thrown into the fire, and I know you're Courtois, like you're a great keeper, but off of an ACL injury, nah, come on,
Yeah.
that's a lot to
It's all
ask
depending
for.
on timing. But the issue is, it's like, yeah, okay, it's not as bad if they play a Porto, they play a Dortmund, PSV, but they're playing Leipzig right now and they're in trouble.
Yeah, but you see, they got Leipzig got this brother, all right, that I've been trying to tell Barry about. And Barry was hating, like just to give some context to our viewers, Barry was hating on this dude
You
from high
said he
school
was gonna
days.
be better than Xavi and Iniesta. I had a
Okay,
problem with him
well,
saying
Oh,
I
Xavi
was
Simons.
he
I
was
was
gonna be better than the two of the greatest midfielders of all
I was also
time.
far more um what's the word I'm looking for? I guess extra.
Ignorant? Extra.
Whoa. Okay, no, that's fair. That's fair. Because in high school, I didn't really know a lot about. I mean, I said Boateng was better than Ibrahimovic.
Yeah, you're
So,
fucking wild. But let's not
uh,
go back to those times. Those were dark
yeah, no,
times.
it's like 10 years ago. Cut me some slack. I'm basing everything off of FIFA Street. Um, no, it's Xavi Simons, man. He played great yesterday. He played great, and he is going to be a stud. He's going to
Yeah.
be a stud. He will be a world class midfielder or a winger,
and
whatever you want to call it, a cam, whatever you need, wherever you need him. He's going to be a world class player.
and
Wants to
that's
get
what they
out
were
of
talking about
PSG.
at the end. Yeah, then that's what they were talking about at the end of the game. They're saying, well, this guy is looking like the guy who's going to replace Mbappe at the end of the season, right? Because
Yeah,
Mbappe is definitely not going to be back there next season, and he's going to come back from his loan from Leipzig, and it's the perfect opportunity of giving him the keys and letting him run with it. Let him mature throughout
yeah,
that team. Build that team around him. He's 20. What?
absolutely.
He's 20 years old, right? Like,
Yeah.
if you really think that this guy could be the next one, build that team around him. Like,
It
Yeah,
you
won't
have everything
happen.
invested into him.
It won't
You
go
just
happen.
for
spent
it.
money bringing him back from selling him off to PSV,
I'm
right?
sorry, I don't know
So
what
like,
it is, but PSG's organization just seems like they don't understand how to build a proper
no,
team.
they don't.
They
They don't know how
buy
to.
stars and they're like, "Hey, you guys are good. Win us games." And it's like, "No, that's not how it works."
Yeah.
Because like you see a
Um,
lot of like teams that win now, it's like built from the back up, right? Like a lot of teams like build out the defense, build out the midfield, and then get that last piece of a striker. Whereas you see
yeah,
with PSG, it's always like, let me get my star striker, let me get this guy, and then let's build the team, the rest of them around that. And it's like you can't really do that. You got to build the team around their style, and then get a forward that fits that style that you want to play to win, right? And that's not something
Yeah.
they have ever done.
Yeah. So I
okay,
don't
so
know.
let's do a quick run through.
Mm.
So Liverpool versus Man City this Sunday, I believe. This is honestly
Biggest game of the Premier League
this
I
for
could
the
don't.
this
Is
season.
it?
For
Is
the
it?
this is
season?
But
this is
everyone's hurt.
probably this
Like,
is
Doesn't
probably
matter.
well,
It's
Mo
crucial.
Salah's playing.
It's
Mo
yeah,
Salah's
but
playing. Obviously, Allison's out, but
yeah,
Van
that's the
Dijk
big.
is there.
Like we were just
Um,
talking about goalkeepers, like being like in
oh,
that situation.
yeah.
Like I don't think you're not going to see Liverpool's best this weekend, right? Like the
no,
for a game that could eventually decide the league, it's unlucky that it's right now for Liverpool.
Yes.
But you still have threats. You still have a Darwin Nunez. You still have a Luis Diaz. You still have a Mo
Yeah.
Salah.
It's still
Like,
going to be a
so-
very tough game. It's just not. It's
Yeah,
not
Szoboszlai played
the.
today, right? And he
Yeah.
scored,
Yeah.
right? Like McAllister's there, like Konate, Van Dyke, like these guys are still there. Like Andy Robertson, like these, you know what I mean? Like there's still the
But then-
core group of guys.
But then you're missing like Trent. I don't know if Trent's going to be back for this weekend. You're going to miss Allison.
Yeah.
Van Dijk was a little banged up, right? But,
Yeah, but he'll be good. He'll be good to go.
Yeah,
So it's
Van
like-
Dijk's also not Van Dijk anymore. I'm not saying he's bad.
Oh, I
I'm
mean,
just
this
saying
season he's been fantastic, though. Like if
Yeah.
anything, he's kind of taken a step back in the right direction this season than
Yes.
last. Like,
yeah.
like he's
yeah.
been better. Like he's been closer to like.
He's
his
been better
best
in a
than he-
senior role, kind of in a
Yeah.
sense.
But like he's better, like getting better to where he was before than it was like the last season, where like
yeah,
he had
to
a little
switch his
bit of
game
a
up bit.
yeah.
So who do you guys have winning?
I'm biased.
Well,
Or a
there's-
draw? Of course, a draw.
I don't think.
I
Go
think it's look. I'm gonna try to be as unbiased as possible. I think it's still in City's favor, just because of, even though their core is there, there is key
Yeah.
pieces. I can't speak English. Are missing. I think Allison is the biggest one, right?
I'll go 2-1 Liverpool.
Yeah,
Like
fucking-
if both teams are healthy, I could see like a 1-1, 2-2 draw.
yeah.
But like with you're missing, like to me, the best goalie in the world, in Allison. You're missing.
Stop it.
I mean, he is like he's at distributing, at like acrobatic saves as like
He's better
like,
than Courtois?
I think so.
Okay.
I think
I also want to say
Alice-
this
I
though,
think
but it's
at
also
peak-
Has
there's
Allison single-handedly won a team a Champions League title? Almost.
I mean, the year they won was very much on his shoulders.
Tottenham, like, are we
But
serious?
but I'm saying like that season was a lot of his doing.
Yeah.
Like that team that won.
He also gave up 3 goals against Barca. Like, let's not forget that.
One was a free kick. Like
Okay, I want to say this. Okay, he might not be the top goalkeeper, but I
I
feel like a
think he is.
lot of people. No, I'm not saying Allison. I'm saying for this
Oh.
goalkeeper I'm about to say. A lot of, and it's also because of their style of soccer. But
gonna
I
say
think
Henderson.
people forget about Jan Oblak. This man
no,
has the
no.
most.
Oh no.
This
Yeah,
man
but,
has
like-
the most clean sheets out of any goalie in the past 10 years. Yes, he plays for Atletico. It's their style of soccer, but I feel like people just forget about him because he's
Like
silently.
because when you need him the most, he's not there.
I
You're
think it's
up-
just
you're
Atletico's
up-
not there. Like, you know what I mean?
But
I don't put like I don't
Ronaldo
ride that-
comes back. Ronaldo comes down and bangs a hat trick against him like whenever he needs to. You know what I mean? Like
What do you mean? Courtois
no.
got
He's
wiped,
definitely like a top keeper. Like it's
he's a
because
top
of
keeper.
I think
It's-
if he
it's
played
not
on
better
a,
than-
I think if he played on a bigger marketable
yeah.
team,
If he would have,
it'd be a different
because
story.
he doesn't have the trophies and all that, the accolades.
He's not better
'cause
than Mike Maignan.
this season, Mike Mignon.
Definitely this season.
I'm
And
talking about.
all-
I'm just talking about at their best.
no,
I mean,
he's better.
I'm
sorry, you
thinking
can't be
Allison.
telling me Mignon's better after talking about him for only 2 years, and already his second year you're talking about him, he's having an off season.
It's his third
Our
season.
whole defense
Okay,
is
third.
out. What are you talking about?
Hey, this is where you step up.
Martial,
This is where you
Kalulu,
step up.
Mikayo Tomori, Gabia. We had to
I don't
recall
care.
Gabia.
You cannot
No,
tell me he's
come
better
on,
than
stop.
Oblak after 3 seasons.
Stop it. Stop it. Yo, Spain is not difficult, dude. Compared to Serie A this season,
There's more Spain teams in Europe.
no,
This
there
is
isn't.
it?
Champions
No.
League.
You said Europe. You didn't say Champions League.
Sorry. Okay. Let me look at your. I'm sorry. Okay. I'm not counting Conference League. Let's be honest.
Bro, now Barca is top 3 in the in La Liga, and they're struggling against Napoli. Are we serious? Napoli is like having the worst defending said Scudetto in history. Like they're awful. They're like eighth in Serie A. What are we talking about?
Dude, there's okay. Lazio's out. So realistically, the only threat. I'm not saying Italy's bad, but the only threat in Europe right now is Inter.
Well, Europe,
Milan,
no.
AC,
Yeah,
Roma
in terms
the
of
Europa
Italy.
League?
I'm
Europa-
sorry, Milan right now is not going anywhere with no defense.
And what
Okay,
about
first
us?
of all, the only
Roma
threat-
Roma very depends. It
What
depends
do you
if
mean? We were in the finals last season.
Okay, we're not conference.
No,
oh, no,
we
she
were
was
in the
Europa.
Europa.
You lost. Yeah,
we
she
were in
was
the
a
Europa
three. It was
final last year.
triple Italy, triple loss.
But hold on a second. The only Spanish team that's a threat is Real Madrid.
Yeah, but the second threat, I feel like
There's no other.
Barca's a bigger threat than Lazio.
Then, but we don't even know if they're gonna get past Lazio. What are we
We'll
talking
find
about?
out.
But you're also forgetting Pedri and
They're missing their midfield.
Yeah.
Pedri and Frankie De Jong are out.
Yeah.
It's fine. They'll make
You know
it
what
through.
I mean? Like that's huge. And I know it's back at I know it's in Barca, the second leg, but still, like those two guys being out is a huge deal.
Yeah.
And,
but I think they
Victor
make it through.
Osimhen and Kvaratskhelia are starting to find their form to some degree, right?
Yeah,
so
they
like
started scoring again as of late.
Osimhen,
So.
yeah.
All I'm
What do you
saying
mean?
is that-
Kvaratskhelia has 4 goals in the last 2 games. He has he's been killing it the last 2 games.
All in Italy, or?
Yeah, well, I mean, the one game against Barca, it was 1-1, and
yeah, but
it
even
was
in the
Osimhen
groups,
scored.
how do you do in the group stage?
We said recently he started playing well. I didn't say the group stage.
You know, Immobile has been doing well also in Italy.
All I'm saying is that Mike Mignon, if he's to me, I think he's the best keeper in the world, given what he has to work with. Right? You're talking about Courtois, who has 3 world-class center backs, you can argue. You have Alisson.
But the thing is with Courtois is like he's won best goalie at almost every tournament he's ever been in. He won best goalie at the World Cup.
Every team he's on is stacked.
I mean, the Belgium national team's defense isn't what it used to be.
Okay, and then what did Italy do in the Euro? 2-0.
But he still got goalie of the tournament, right? Like, or something like.
That's not saying much though. He didn't deserve it over Donnarumma.
No, wait, no, it's true. Donnarumma won goal in the no, yeah.
Maybe you're talking about
the Euro. Yeah,
it was.
Yeah, I'm thinking of the World Cup where
2018. Mm-hmm. You look at Alisson. Alisson has the best center back.
Yeah, but
of this generation. You know what I mean? Like,
but he also did it at Roma. Like he has a comparable where the team wasn't as good and he still put up crazy numbers. Like,
did you guys win a Scudetto?
No, but we went to the semifinals of the Champions League.
Magic Mike Mignon won a Scudetto.
I mean, your team was better. Like, you're saying your team wasn't better than ours?
Did you have Mo Salah?
No, not that season.
Okay, all right.
We sold Salah that season.
But we both had to say we both went to the semifinals, but one team won the Scudetto and one did it. That's all I'm saying.
You could say he's the best in the world.
I think he's the best in the world. But the guys that you're talking about have played with far better teams than Mike Mignon's played with. The man played for Lille and they won Ligue 1.
Yeah, fair. I'm not saying he's a great goalie. He's just not the best in the world. And
he won Ligue 1 with PSG in the league. Okay?
Yeah,
and then he
like 3 years, let's be honest.
Okay, but then he goes to Milan, who hasn't won a Scudetto in 10 years at the time, and they win the Scudetto. Like, I think we're very much underselling what he has to work with. Like I mentioned, Courtois, wherever he's played with, on Chelsea, on Atletico, he's had world-class center backs. Real Madrid, world-class center backs. Jan Oblak, world-class center backs. Maybe not so much nowadays, but
and at the beginning of his career, he had Godin, who was arguably the best center back in the world at the time. So
exactly,
yeah,
right. You talk about Alisson, you're playing with Virgil van Dijk, who's in this generation, the generation before, I would argue is Sergio Ramos, but in this generation, it's Virgil van Dijk, right? And he's playing, and they're killing it. Like,
yeah, but I think it's just the quality of saves they make and the opportunities they have, right? And obviously, when you're on lesser teams, you're gonna get more shots against you.
Yeah,
but like that doesn't just mean like you're a better goalie because you stop more shots. It just means you got more opportunities to make your highlight.
You're in more positions to make saves. Yeah,
yeah, but like when Alisson gets in those key situations with Liverpool, he of the quality of saves Alisson has to make, there's some of the highest quality. Like the goals,
But okay, the man gets lit up at Anfield by Real Madrid. They get lit up. What was it? 5-2? That Real Madrid lit them up last Champions League season? At Anfield. You know what I
Come
mean?
on.
Like 4-2, 5-2. Like, and they had a 2-0 lead. And I'm not saying it's all on Allison. I obviously understand that it's not all on Allison. I get that. But you know what I mean? Like these things happen, you know? And I just think I don't think it's fair to Mike Mignon to not realize, and I love Fikayo Tomori, I love Malik Chiao, I love Pierre Kalulu, I love all these guys, but they're not Godin, they're not Virgil van Dijk, they're not Rudiger, they're not Alaba, they're not Militao. Like, you know what I mean? Like they're very good, but they're not world class yet. So, and who knows if they ever will be. Anyways, let's do a little look ahead quickly.
Yep.
Napoli, Barca, who you guys have winning that second leg?
Barca.
Taking it off the first game, I would have said Barca, but now I think Napoli, just from the run of form and the injury that injuries that Barca has, I think it's going to be a little bit too much for them to overcome, and I think I'm starting to lean towards Napoli.
I'm with you, Barry. I think Pedri being out, Frankie De Jong being out, run of form. I think Napoli will probably get the edge in that second leg.
Yeah.
Arsenal, Porto. Honestly, I'm gonna go with Porto.
I'm going with the draw.
But you need someone to come out of the group, like out of the matchup.
I mean, if it's a draw in the game, Porto come out. They're up 1-0.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. Okay.
No, but that's what I'm saying. Like you're picking a winner of the.
Oh yeah. Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah. This is gonna be a game. It's gonna be a draw, but Porto comes out because it's a draw.
I think Arsenal win. Probably. I think like 2-0. I don't know. They've been playing well this last weekend. They put up a bunch of goals too. Like I think they're just playing well.
But that's in Prem. They're in form.
Yeah.
But in Europe, I think the inexperience is still a major factor. So that's why I don't feel comfortable. Like I wouldn't be surprised if they beat Porto at home, but it's still Europe, and they're Bukayo Saka's inexperience in Europe in terms of club competition. Declan Rice is inexperienced. William Saliba's inexperienced.
Declan Rice is in Conference League.
I knew that was coming.
And first of all, that's against Fiorentina. They're lucky they didn't see Lazio because, and Barry, I know you hate Lazio, but Lazio chose not to participate in the Conference League, and Lazio was second in Serie A last season. If Lazio had played West Ham,
it
would have been barbecue chicken. What?
Why would you say no?
I don't know. I don't know why.
Anyways.
You'd have to talk to Barry's team. I don't know.
That's not my team. Don't
I just find Arsenal don't have close games. Like Arsenal will either win like 3-0, or they'll draw Porto. Like there's no in between. I
think they're obviously you play to win, and I'm not saying that they're not playing to win, but I feel like their mind is really on getting a Premier League title. I feel like that's what they're.
Yeah,
I feel like that's their main.
That's their
goal.
Primary goal. Like it's not
their
like
goal right
Champions
now
League isn't, but it's just historically speaking, and just seeing them in general, you feel
and
like.
I think Porto's upset so many people over the years. Like they've been here
year in, year out.
You know what I mean? So I'll go with Porto. The last group of second leg games, I should say. PSV Dortmund, I guess. I mean,
I would go with Dortmund just from like history wise, like you would normally see them go through. So
and they drew 1-1 in the first leg, but I'm still gonna go with Dortmund.
PSV. I feel like they're just having a great year in terms of just Dutch league soccer, right? It's the first year where they're
far and away ahead.
They're ahead of the pack. Like Ajax fell off this year.
Yeah, Ajax had a terrible season.
Yeah, they were in 11th at some point. Now they're in 5th. Like they picked it back up. They're gonna end up in a Champions Europa League spot. But like PSV, I feel like are just like on high spirits.
I'm not gonna lie to you. Like the Europa League is like it's not on the same level, but it's not far off from the Champions League level this season. Normally, there's like a gigantic gap, but this season I do not feel.
I'd say it's at the end of this round, the Europa League is going to look a lot stronger because you're going to get
Liverpool, Milan, Bayer Leverkusen, Roma, Atalanta.
It's because a lot of these Europa League teams are just having insane seasons this year.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. They're there because of off season.
A lot of the Europa League teams should be in the Champions League right now, right? Like,
yeah,
and that's another issue in it of itself. Like, I feel like it should just be the best teams, right? Like, I'm sorry, Copenhagen, like
Well, it's,
Milan
next year it
not
goes
being
up. It's going to be a bigger
looking at
roster.
Copenhagen in there and not seeing Milan in there like drives me nuts. Like there should be no reason why Milan or Liverpool or even a Roma should be in there and Copenhagen's in there. Like they have no business in the Champions League. Zero.
But they keep making it out of the round into the round 16. Sometimes they make it
Because
into
their
the
groups
quarters.
are so easy all the time.
What was their
All the time, their groups are easy. 2 out of the last. Okay, you know what? I'm going too off on Milan. I'm sorry. Let's just move it on. Let's keep pushing.
Yeah, their group was their group was Bayern, Galatasaray, Man United, so easy-ish to get second. But I mean,
Man
Galatasaray
United
and
technically
United.
should have made it out of that group.
But
Man
United has also been dealing with a boatload of injuries all season.
And they're just disorganized in general.
Yeah, their organization's horrible. Anyways.
In the last Champions League quarterfinal, round of 16 game, I should say, Atletico versus Inter. I'm going with Inter. I'll probably go 2-0 Inter, to be honest with you.
Like they definitely like watching last game for them to only come out 1-0 was a little surprising because they dominated that.
I think it's a styles make fights type of thing.
It makes it look like it's not like they didn't dominate.
Well,
but I think more teams look that they're more dominant than Atletico. It's just Atletico don't want the ball until they counter. Like that's just their style,
but
right?
I mean, like if Arnautovic hit some of his shots in this game, that game would have been 3-0,
exactly.
right? So it's like it was a game of missed chances, but I think it should be like a 2-0 game.
Yeah. I feel like the general consensus is Inter. I kind of want to be spicy and say Atletico, but like it's definitely Inter.
Yeah,
it's definitely Inter.
Inter's
like it's Inter will win. It's just like like a gut feeling tells me like Atletico's not going down without a fight.
Oh no,
you say that with any team, but like
definitely
like Atletico's like that's definition of that.
Yeah, like.
But Inter has this season. This is the season it feels like they've equipped themselves to beat a Man City in the Champions League final. Like last season, they played great. They got to the final. They had a great chance to win. And this season, it's like, okay, now we've been there. Now we know what it takes. Now we've added the pieces that it will take to beat you guys. And of course, Lautaro Martinez, like, dude, show up in the Champions League, please.
Yeah.
Like, last year, it looked like they overachieved. This year, it looks like they're one of the guys to win it. Like, no one like, if you started last season, no one would have thought that Inter would have made a final. But the way they played throughout last season, and then this year off the backs of that, bringing in a little bit more depth that they didn't have last season to like take some pressure off their guys has done wonders. And that midfield has been playing insane. Their defense is great. Their attacking is great. When you have Thuram and Lautaro Martinez playing together, it's just different.
Yeah. How much time do we have?
Minute 40.
Fuck. Okay, let's do this quick. Ngannou, Anthony Joshua. Who do you guys got?
So I think Fury took Ngannou lightly the last fight, like on the fight, and I feel like that's the reason why Ngannou looked so good. Like it's not to say like Ngannou is the stronger of like muscular strength wise. Like you saw it a lot in the clinch against Fury in the last fight, where it's like he was able to overpower him in the clinch, and off the backs of like the clinch, he was able to get some things going, and he dropped Fury in that. I don't think it's gonna be the same against Joshua. Like Joshua has fought like strong punchers before, and it's not been like that's not his problem. The problem is when he fights boxers that are just flat out better boxers than him. Like when like the Usyk fight, like Usyk's just a better down to basics boxer than Joshua is. Whereas normally, like when barring the Ruiz fight where they both dropped each other and it looked like Joshua quit. When he fights the guy that's the lesser boxer with him, he's usually able to come out on top, and I feel like that's just what's going to happen this weekend.
I'm gonna make my answer short and sweet. I'm going with Ngannou, and I'll explain why when Ngannou wins. Paul, I'll let you end it off.
I think it's gonna be a more exciting fight than the Fury, but that's just because like Barry said, they finally style and they understand the threat of Ngannou. So like like I was saying, it's gonna be a funner fight. But I think there's gonna be a better game plan on Joshua's side, which is why I'm gonna go with Joshua. But overall, I think it's gonna be it's a more exciting fight regarding Ngannou in the boxing world.
It's fair.
I
And
think
last,
there's more tape on him now, right? Like it's just
Yeah.
for the first fight, there wasn't like we all knew his stand up from MMA, but that's different from when you do stand up, like when you're just straight up boxing. And so it's like, I guess maybe there wasn't enough film for Fury, but like it also, you could tell he didn't take it 100% just from the way he looked. Like the way he looked, was it what 2 weeks ago, right before the fight got canceled against Usyk? Fury looked like he was in the best shape of his life, but 3 months earlier against Ngannou, he looked out of shape and a little bit heavy.
took it a lot serious,
Yeah.
more
I
serious.
just find the cross between MMA and boxing, I find, is not as serious yet in terms of like whoever's fighting in whatever realm the person who is that style. So let's say if it's in the MMA realm or the boxing, they just don't take it that seriously yet until like the full until we start getting more and more matches. Then we'll actually start seeing like a genuine professional match.
I mean, no one hits as hard as Ngannou does, right? So like
Yeah.
he always has that.
Sean O'Malley, Barry, you think he's and you're the MMA guy because I don't follow MMA to the same degree that you do, but do you see him coming out with a win?
Yeah, I feel like, I mean, in there, because this is like the rematch, and
Yeah,
in the first fight, I mean, O'Malley proclaims it as a lucky shot because he got kicked in the back of the leg and it just shut down the nerves in his leg, and that's what caused him to lose the fight. Right, he couldn't walk on his leg anymore and had to end up on the ground, and Vera took over. But I feel like besides that event happening and in the stand up, it looked like O'Malley had a bit of the edge, and I feel like without, fights happen, lucky shots happen, right? And you don't know, again, like on the way in for O'Malley on a combination, Chito Vera can catch him, and that could be the end of the fight. And what is he going to say again? Oh, is it a lucky shot? Like, those lucky shots do happen. But I'm saying, like, just pure off technique and who's better, both are like, they're both like mainly more striking guys. Like Vera has a bit on the ground, but like traditionally on most of their fights, they're both strikers. And if you're gonna have a striking matchup against O'Malley, you're already gonna be behind. Like that's his bread and butter. That's like what he does best. And we saw it in the championship fight against Sterling. His stand up is different and is better than anyone else's in the division.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm gonna go with O'Malley.
Yeah,
Get that revenge dub. You know what I mean?
Set up for a third.
It's set up for a third, but also
I don't think there would be a third.
Why not?
Just because if he beats him convincingly, people are gonna just say the guy didn't deserve to be in the octagon.
Yeah,
but it's 1-1.
Yeah, but it's not like he beat him, right? It's like people keep saying, it's just for like,
it depends on the fight goes.
And like for publicity wise, it doesn't look like it's a true third fight.
If it's 1-1,
normally, yeah,
you have to have a third. I'm sorry, you have to. Like obviously, like if they're willing, if both parties are willing, whatever. But if it doesn't happen, it has to be because one of the fighters doesn't want to do it.
Yeah,
it can't be because a promoter or Dana White or whoever doesn't want to do it. It's because it's 1-1, dude. Like, what are we talking about?
In terms of the score, yes, but I kind of understand what Barry's saying. Like, look, if it's like an absolute like demolish second rounder,
like if it's the first round knockout,
I get it.
They're gonna be reluctant to try to run that over again because of how quickly it played out.
Especially how the first one went. It's not like it was a tight one. He won it. It was like quote unquote lucky shot. Like, you know what I mean? Those happen. So it's the fact that happened that caused the win. Plus, it's a second fight blowout. It's like you can clear like the audience. Right. You're selling it to the audience, and the audience can see what the story is. So in terms of a score, yes, I get it. It'd go for a third, but it depends on the outcome of the second fight.
That's fair. That's a fair point. But I still feel like It's 1-1. Like you
When it's a
gotta,
fight, yes. If you're in the
you
view
know
of
what
the
I
fighter,
mean?
it's 1-1, and like let's go for a third. And view of the audience, it's a little
And
it's a
I
little different.
understand that historically, in combat sports, like yes, there is fights where it's 1-1 and the
Mhm.
fighter, you know what I mean? Like whatever, they just don't do it again. But
Yeah.
for the most part, I feel like, like Roberto Duran and, to your point, Barry, Roberto Duran and Sugar Ray Leonard. Like Duran dominated the first fight and Sugar Ray no-mossed him in the second. And they never had a
Mhm.
third, right? So it's like, excuse me.
It's a little
It,
odd, but yeah.
it's when it's convincingly, I get it.
Convincingly, people don't want to see it again because
Mhm.
Yes. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I think in the world of MMA it's a bit different because there is a governing body, right? And they do have a standard, they do have rules set, whereas boxing is kind of like all over the place. Like
I hate it.
like Canelo Alvarez is isn't fighting David Benavidez. He's not fighting
no,
Terrence Crawford. Like he's fighting Munguia, and I apologize if I botched his name. He's a good fighter, of course, but
yeah.
like people want to see Terrence Crawford or
And like at the
David
point of his
Benavidez,
career where like Canelo doesn't
right?
have that many high quality fights left, we
No.
want to
Well,
see him
listen,
against the best guys in the world.
I think
We
him
want to see
losing
the
to
super fights.
Dimitri, I think him losing to Dimitri Bivol like
Yeah.
changed his outlook. Because before Dimitri, he was just fighting. He's like, "Listen, I'm just better than you. I'm just gonna fight you. Like, let's just get this
He
over
didn't
with."
care what division he was in. He moved up
No,
so
he
many
didn't. He moved up to
and he
light
knocked out
heavyweight. Dimitri,
Kovalev, right?
yeah, right. And I mean, Kovalev was older.
No, it was past his prime. But
It
I'm saying
wasn't.
he
Yes,
moved up a couple weight classes just to fight Kovalev, where he would have
yes,
the advantage.
exactly. But Dimitri Bivol is like, I think Dimitri Bivol is like a top 3 pound for pound in the world. Yeah, yeah. He's just a stud, and Dimitri Bivol like just outboxed him. Like, it
Mhm.
was really that simple. So I hear what you're saying, but we'll see what happens. We'll see how the second
Yeah.
fight plays out. But ladies and gentlemen, that has been episode 5. It's already been 5 weeks. Wow. Episode 5 of Unmatched. Um, keep consuming this content. Like and subscribe. Comment. All right, definitely comment. We got a comment, a couple
Yeah, bro,
comments
our first fucking comment. God damn.
hating on Paul's jersey. Shout out to
Mm.
Mass
I'm gonna wear
who
one of those
commented that.
jerseys for the next one just for him.
No, listen, honestly, I have to agree with him. Your jersey selection,
Listen, let's
like at
relax.
least 2 or 3 out of the 5 were a little bit weak. I agree with him. So shout out to
Whatever.
Mass for that comment on Paul's jerseys. But like, comment, subscribe, hate on us if you want to, love us if you want to. We're all receptive to it. So please don't
Mhm.
be shy, don't hesitate. And we'll be back. Wait, Barry, when are you leaving for your cruise?
2 weeks.
Okay, so we'll be back next week for sure. And then I don't know after that. But don't worry, we'll keep you posted. We're not gonna let you guys hanging, leave you guys hanging, I should say. We'll keep you posted, and this is Unmatched.